Let me ask you a question. Have you had a dream that seemed so real that when you woke up, you were not sure if it was a dream or not? What if you are still dreaming? What if you think everything you think is real? The you who you call yourself, the others who are separate from you, even the God you worship are not real, but are only dream figures. What if? What if? What if this is the ultimate truth? Join us as we go as far as we can and discover what is real and what is a dream by asking the most profound question: who or what am I?
Who am I?
Who am I?
Who? Our purpose is to awaken.
Who am I?
To awaken to absolute truth.
Am I?
Who am I?
Who?
Who?
Our purpose is to awaken to absolute truth.
Absolute.
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 Absolute truth.
Our purpose is to awaken. Are they one and the same? Absolute and truth. That's our purpose.
Who am I?
All right, all right. In the tease, we were talking about, is it a dream or is it real? You know, in our intro, every week we said, at least I said, we got to awaken. I chose that word very, very carefully, okay? Because it presumes that there's sleep going on, all right? So if you are sleeping, you have to awaken. And to awaken to what? To awaken to that which is real. All right? We said a dream is not real. We said something else must be real. So that's what we want to find out. What is real? And what we have said on I don't know how many shows, that what is real is that only infinity is. And there appears to be something called a separation from infinity. Infinity meaning everywhere present, nowhere absent, meaning omnipresent. Okay? And we said Alan Carter is not infinite. Archibald is not infinite. And we know Donald Trump, I had to get that in, Leonard. We know Donald Trump is not infinite. So it's like, well, is this that Alan Carter sees, is it real? Or is it a dream? Now, in the dream, there appears to be people walking around, or sitting in chairs, watching TV, or doing whatever, okay? And these people appear to be communicating. So a dream was said, there are separate entities. There are separate bodies. And these bodies appear to have a consciousness that they think, and they can walk, and they can talk, and they can see, and they got senses. That appears to be what happens in what we call real. But is it true? Is it real that this what we call this room with people sitting in it, the TV camera out there, you sitting at home and on your couch or whatever you're sitting in, all right, watching us, you say this is real. You think that there is something separate from you. Well, there is a Raphael or Gloria separate from Alan. And we call that people who are in space and time. And we say space and time are real. You go and talk to any physicists. What would they say? Big Bang, 14 billion years ago. And out of that, space, time, and matter occurred. So what was before Big Bang? Well, physicists don't know. They just said something that was, they called it infinite. They say it's infinitesimal small. It's unmeasurable. You doggone right. You know, it had no dimension. So how did that which is infinite without dimension produce something that is finite with dimension? Gloria.
Oh, well, I didn't raise my hand to answer
Oh.
that question, but if we go look at the board, it's like going to the dream, that we've identified what is the basis of God's identity. That's infinite.
All right. That's infinite. All right.
And so if you've always drawn a line between that, so below that, what is the basis of human identity? That would be finite.
All right. So finite.
So
Every
infinite-
human thinks that every human is finite.
Right, and
All
that's
right.
the separation. That line is the separation between infinite and finite, or dream or reality.
Well, what stopped? This line stops. That's above the line, right?
Right.
So what stopped infinity?
Nothing can stop infinity.
Well, then how did all of
Infinity
this
just-
come about? What is
that's-
all of this?
Isn't that the dream?
Oh, so you're saying anything below this line, which is not infinite, is the dream. So this is real. Infinity is real. Can you argue with that there's only infinity? I mean, you know, we got to, I see.
The mind can.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we want to see what's, just like we say in the intro to the show, we want to find out what it said, awaken to absolute truth. And is this absolute truth that only infinity is? I mean, I want you to think about that. Yeah, Leonard.
Well, this is a difficult topic for me to discuss because it goes into starting with the premise that only the infinite is real and the finite is unreal. And then there seems to be, like you said, a dividing line. So the only thing that I know for sure from my own experience, and it even is beyond thought, is that I am aware.
Okay.
Okay? So if I start with awareness, then anything that I observe cannot be me,
Okay.
cannot be who I am.
Say that again, because that's a very important point.
Anything that I can observe cannot be me
Okay.
because it has to be separate by the very nature that I'm over here and whatever I'm observing is over there.
Right.
So that cannot be who I am.
Right.
So if I'm aware, whatever I'm aware of is really separated from me.
Okay.
So when you say, can I dream? And if the dream figures and dream itself is part of me, I question that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so what you're saying, there is a subject
Right.
which has an object, and those two are separate. That there's a subject called I, because I am always the subject. Okay? I is the subject. And this subject that is aware has an object, and there you have two. But can the infinite, that which is, you can call it God, but as Archibald says, watch that word God, okay? But can the infinite absolute one have an object that is separate from?
Nope.
Uh-oh. I was taught that God created me and the world. Archibald,
Can God have a dream?
that's the question. What do you say?
I said, if we could have a dream, then God surely could have a dream.
All right.
Or infinity could be a mirror of itself. I mean, we don't know where infinity ends. or
Uh-huh.
What it is.
Can it end?
Yeah, I mean, technically it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the definition we as humans give it.
All right, but is there, again, this is what we got to establish. Is there infinity? Because that's our premise.
We talked about that. I'm not sure.
All right.
I mean, because infinity is like, technically it's a numerical issue.
Well, but that's what a mathematician would
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, we aren't capable of understanding infinity.
Right.
We just
Yeah, because of being finite.
yeah.
The word is just, the word infinity is just a pointer to something that is invisible, something that is
Beyond finite.
very
beyond finite, beyond finite, or it just is, and we can't
Does
describe
this
that.
have a beginning?
No,
Can it have an end?
no.
Then, Is meaning existence. That's
Yeah,
what is means.
It's
Can there be non-existence?
for a human, yeah.
Well, for
I
a
mean,
human, but can there be something called non-existence?
Not that we can describe.
Can there be something called non-existence?
If it's all a dream.
But still, it would exist
In
in the dream. Okay? See, there has to be existence. Even if it's dreamed up.
Infinity might be a dream.
But it still exists.
I mean,
There has to be something that exists.
What gives it existence?
Existence. Its own presence.
But what gives you the notion that you can say whatever something is, it exists?
Because I exist.
And
All
you
right.
exist as,
As awareness, as you said. Because I am aware.
so that's how we know.
Yes.
If anything exists,
Because I'm
because
aware.
you're aware.
That's the infinite. I was going. I'm glad you got that. Yeah.
But you also exist for us as a separate entity from us.
I
in
don't
our
know
perception.
y'all. See, I don't know if you exist. All right, I
You
only
want to
know
find
that.
out?
I mean, you could be a dream figure. All right, but see, there's always subject. This is what we are saying. There's always I. That's why the most important thing you ask is, what is this that is aware? Okay, and it's I. I don't know if you were raised on religion or not. I was raised, in the Methodist church, okay? And so it told me about God, up there in the sky. Most people have a God that's separate from them, which means he's finite. Okay, he's not an infinite God. All religions depend upon God being finite because they have to worship him, praise him, give a tithe to him or whatever, okay? And then he's somewhere where you are not. That's all religions, okay? So they have two, which means you have two finite existences, one here and one here. And what we're asking is this, can you have this, what we call real, because that's why we want to get this premise right. We want to make sure that it's absolutely true that only infinity is. Is means exist. All right? That there's only existence, and this existence has to be aware.
Okay, if I may comment on that subject, Dr. Carter.
Yes.
The infinite is all there is and exists in potentia, which means it is there all the time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be infinite.
Yeah, it's always here.
So now we come to the point of who we are as human beings and everything that's physical in the universe. And I can speak from my own interpretation or understanding of what that is.
Right.
And to me, I am, and all that is, that exists, is the expression of that infinite in a physical form, time, and space. All creation I see as that.
Yeah, that's because you want to exist as a human. Okay? See, all humans have to think in time and space. Okay? I mean, if I said, what is this? You say a piece of chalk. And the only reason why you know it's a chalk because you went into your memory, to your past, which is time. You said this is a piece of chalk. Okay? All thoughts are finite. That's what we were, when we were, Archibald and I, we were discussing about, can there be infinity? And we were saying, you can't conceive of it. You got to go. All right? But a human doesn't want to go. A human doesn't want to commit suicide. And when suicide, I ain't thinking about, like putting a bullet in your head. But this thought called I think. All right? I think does not want to go. Because then that means that, see, all of this is dependent upon, all below this line is dependent upon I think. All right?
Totally.
Yeah. And so now, supposedly there's a verse in the Bible, okay, that says God, I think it was Jesus, I don't know who it was, but it doesn't make any difference. It says, my thoughts are not your thoughts. Okay? In other words, this, above this line, You can call it God, isness. You can call it infinite, absolute. It doesn't care what you call it because it doesn't even have a name. Because the only reason why we got a name is you're Igor and I'm Alan, and I'm to separate myself from you because I think I am separate from you. But this, which is the only presence, doesn't even need a name. Okay?
Absolutely.
So it's like these, can it have thoughts? Well, these thoughts, my Alan Carter's thoughts, okay, are human thoughts, are finite, and they exist in time and space. They have to. But if there's no time and space, then what? Okay? See, that precludes Alan Carter, any human. All right? And I don't want to go. All right? Because I have a self-preservation thing. You know, Charles Darwin thought that was rooted in the form, but it's really rooted in the thought called I. And that's what doesn't want to go. But you don't have to worry about it. It never was. It can't be. See, you can't have light and darkness. This is all. And you can't have less than all. Yeah, Leonard.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that below the line is imagination.
Yes.
That is the world that we're in,
Mm-hmm.
our imagination.
Mm-hmm.
The world above that line is beyond imagination.
Yes.
There's no substance to imagine.
Right.
So then let's imagine for a second that what's above the line that we can't imagine is actually sleeping for a moment.
Okay.
And it has to sleep means it's going to go into a dream.
Okay.
It's going to use its imagination.
Okay.
So if it's doing that, then the show of our purpose here is to awaken
Right.
to what is beyond our imagination,
Yeah.
which is the existence of being and is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how the Hindus sort of visualize or conceive of it. Okay? Their god is, I think it's called Brahman, the big heavyweight god, because they got plenty of gods, okay? But anyway, the big heavyweight god, Brahman, yeah, that's his name. He's the big heavyweight chief, okay? Anyway, supposedly he went to sleep, all right? And when he went to sleep, he began to dream. And he dreamed up this, okay? It was kind of like, I don't know if you remember in Matrix 2, when Neo went and he met the architect. And the architect was trying to show him, because Neo thought, he was sort of like a Jesus figure, a Messiah type figure. And the architect was saying, we had thousands of you messiahs, okay? Because, they say, the three gods they have, Brahman, Vishnu, and Shiva, the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer, okay? And it's just a cycle going on now, all supposedly within the dream world of Brahman, okay, the super god. But again, that's man trying to explain man's existence. This physical world that I think, because Alan Carter, I can't deny Alan Carter. I can't deny Ego or Gloria. I can say y'all are just hallucinations, okay? But there's always a subject, and that subject is I. And that's why you got to ask who or what is here, okay? Because you can't get away from I. Is this I, the infinite one? When Jesus said, I and the Father are one, was he referring to Jesus? Or when he said, no one comes to the Father except through me or I, Christians took it as he was referring to Jesus, okay? And they worship Jesus, all right? When actually, if they go a little bit deeper, they would see that he was talking about I, the subject that is aware. What is this subject that is aware? Is it a human? That which is below the line, which thinks and has to think in terms of subject and object, okay? As Leonard was saying, there's me, the subject, and of course, you're the object. And you could be what we call inanimate, like a piece of chalk, or something that I call living, called human or a cockroach or whatever, okay? And that's my experience as Alan. And how do I deny my experience? That is the question because, like I said, I can deny you, I can explain you away, but can I explain me, this I that thinks? And that's the conundrum, okay? That's the conundrum that, how do I deal with these seemingly two eyes? If you accept that there is this I that is infinitely aware, and that's why you get all these religions coming up, all metaphysical, psychological, philosophical, whatever, treatise going on. Okay? Yeah, you go.
Okay, so we now come to the concept, and there are many concepts. There could be infinite number of concepts, 7 billion concepts of what constitutes a human being. Okay? Now, being in and of itself constitutes to be, right? To exist in some form. Okay. Now, my view, what I have derived from my years on this planet and studies and learning and experiencing is that there's an aspect of me that is there all the time, and that is the core of me, that actually lives this life.
And what's that?
And that is what I would term my soul, which is
Okay.
connected to the infinite. If you want to put it in religious terms, that's a totally different story. But I see that is the core of me, and with that, I'm connected to the infinite and to everybody else that exists. Okay, we are one in that concept, except that my identity as a separate human being, besides the body that of course is born when physicality takes place, arises by the rise of ego. And the ego is the other I that pretends to be the true I, and this is where most of the conflict in human existence come about.
Okay, Glory.
Well, as you were speaking, it's like I heard a major distinction in that the separation of, I forgot how you said it.
Connected to?
It's like the connected to, but it's like that's who you are. It's not who you're trying to be or how it appears. It's that you are that spirit. It's not and then there's you. There isn't this physical body and spirit. All there is spirit. Like in the world, it's like there's not two worlds. There's not a God world, an invisible world, and a human world, a physical world.
Correct.
There is only one world, and that's what we can't get. You can't get there as a human. You can't get, and as that ego human mind, we don't want to get, we resist getting that all there is God. So if all there is God, I must be God.
Right. Well, now we get into the realm of the discussion about ego, which is a fairly big subject. And this is actually the topic of a couple of books that I have penned so far in terms of trying to understand what ego is. Now, from most philosophies and psychology, ego is the identity of a human being that arises through thinking fundamentally. It does not take place any time between the age of 0 and 2. And as the human being, as the baby begins to interact with the world, primarily through spoken word and responding to the stimuli from the environment, it becomes aware of itself and generates the identity that's relative to what is happening around it by recognizing father, mother, siblings, and the world around it. So by the age of 3, that identity, which is a soul, now has actually put on some sort of a attire that can be termed ego and identity and begins to function in the world from that standpoint. And this is where a lot of trouble begins, because now we know, like as a baby of 3, I'm not the center of the universe. There are other people in it that I have to interact with. And then in response to that, we start to develop our self-identity, self-image, and all the other things that happen. And a lot of it actually, unfortunately, comes with a lot of conflict, because we cannot come to terms with that. And somehow, by the time we are 10 years old, we actually have a certain perception of who we are and how we are in the world, where we belong in terms of all kinds of aspects of life.
Okay, Sharon, then back to Glory.
The thing that I'm seeing is that no matter what it is that we're seeing, it's just I. Mm-hmm. Whether I'm in that dream state and seeing something that I believe is outside myself, that's just me. So the bottom line is, it's just me. Whether I'm in the dream state or I'm not in the dream state, all of it is me. Whether I'm looking around and seeing others that I think exist outside myself, that's me. Because I am the only one that's here. I am the only thinker. I am the only person that is aware. What am I aware of? Myself. So anything else that I think that's outside of me, I'm aware of, that's me.
Yeah, Gloria.
Well, I would piggyback on that you gave a beautiful example and explanation of the ego mind. And as I listened, it's like that gives justification for this ego mind, this human mind, to stick around. We don't want to let that go. That we don't want, this body, this mind, Gloria does not want to get that I am all. I am infinite. Because I can't even, it's like all those words are just pointers to something that I can't use my senses to get.
Okay. I think Raphael and then Ball.
Yes, Dr. Carter. I want to go back to the dream, just to
Let's
discuss
not.
the dream. Yes, and here in your questionnaire here, number 2, Freud said, I am the dream. Okay, I am the dream, and I see that he's also going and saying, well, that's a monster. That is that and that. Okay, well, there's a dream and there's a dreamer. Okay, there's an observer there. It is the combination of the mind and the no mind. And what he's referring to, the ego, that is the mind.
In the dream, which is time-based, that we're going to have to put a comma in this right now.
The alarm clock is going off.
Yeah, the alarm clock is going off. But, this is a profound, Freud tried to look at it, philosophers try to look at it, if you are in a way and doing any kind of digging and trying to get to the source, which means religion, binding back to the source, you got to get into this type of discussion. All right, and you do run into this seemingly inherent contradiction. All right, and how do you resolve it? How do you resolve it? We don't have any more time. So anyway, we will pick up from here on the next show. Put a comma, but keep asking these questions so that we can really get to see: is this dream? Is it real? Is it God and man? This is what we have to ask. Getting back, and it takes us to the question called, who is this I that says I am? Thank you. Okay.